Okay, so can you eat too much protein at one meal and just like stop absorbing the protein? Let's dive straight into those details. If you're new here, my name's Autumn. I'm a certified clinical nutritionist with my master's in nutrition human performance. On my channel, I share with you the tips and strategies that you can use to help you achieve your weight loss and wellness goals. So if you're new here, make sure you subscribe. Understanding this concept of how much protein your body can actually absorb is really crucial if you're looking to achieve a body recomposition goal, which is where you're losing body fat but not losing muscle. Especially if you're also using intermittent fasting because you're eating less frequently. So you might be eating 3 or 2 or even 1 meals a day. One meal. So understanding how much protein your body can actually absorb from that meal is really critical to understand. Now, you may have heard before that you can only have about 20 grams or maybe 30 grams of protein at a meal before your body just stops absorbing it. Now, in reality, your body can absorb essentially unlimited amounts of protein. When we say absorb, it means literally the protein that your body can absorb from your small intestine when you eat it and into the blood supply. What might be limited is how much of that protein that your body absorbs can actually be used to make muscle, or pretty much anything else that protein is used for. This concept is called muscle synthesis or muscle creation. Now, some original research on this topic found that this muscle synthesis was capped at around 20 to 30 grams of protein at a meal. Now, to give you an idea of how much this is about 2.5 ounces of cooked chicken breast. So yeah, it's not really a lot of protein. Now, this could be a huge problem, especially if you're intermittent fasting and you need to make sure that you're fitting all of your protein needs in during that smaller eating window. Or even if you just have really high protein needs because you're exercising or because you're above the age of 50, which if you're curious on how much protein you need, I have a whole video on how you can calculate your protein needs. It's about 3 minutes long. I'll have that link down description below so you guys can test that out. Now, science isn't super set on this idea of this cap on how much protein your body can actually absorb from a meal. Just to give you an idea, there's been additional research that found when study participants had 20 grams worth of whey protein versus 40 grams worth of whey protein after performing total body workouts, those who had the 40 grams had increased muscle synthesis than those who had the 20 grams. So obviously that test group was able to use more of that protein than just the 20 grams, which to give you an idea of what 40 grams looks like, this is going to be about 4.5 ounces of cooked chicken. A huge problem with a lot of these studies is that they're usually just testing protein on its own. And most people aren't just consuming protein on its own. They're going to be having like their chicken in a salad with avocado, or they're going to be having eggs, which contains both fat and protein. In a true meal setting, which is what you would be applying this information for, you're not just having protein. And because of this, the additional fats and the fibers in a complete meal would slow the release of the amino acids or of the protein into the body anyway. And that slower release has been theorized to make it so the body can use more of the protein than just consuming protein alone, which is exactly what this study had concluded as well. In fact, that same study had stated that it's a bit up in the air on what this exact protein ceiling is, not just because of the mixed meal concept, but also because each person's protein needs varies so much. So for example, 20 or 30 grams of protein for me might actually be enough protein to have at one meal versus someone who's 6'4" and is trying to be Arnold. Their protein needs are going to be a lot higher. So theoretically, their protein ceiling should be a lot higher as well. But the very clear must that is so important when it comes to protein is that you're actually just getting enough within each day, whether that be split between 3 meals, 2 meals, or even all at once. This is actually a bigger problem I see with most people. They're under consuming protein. This underconsumption of protein alone can cause the muscle loss, increase hunger, and decrease muscle synthesis, making it harder to achieve the goals that you're looking for. So whether you're having 3 meals or you're eating less meals per day, the first most important factor is to make sure that you're actually getting all of your protein needs in between those meals. That's why I have found that for most people, the 1 meal a day approach, if you're using intermittent fasting, can be pretty difficult because protein is so satiating. Even putting this concept of a protein ceiling aside, protein is so satiating because it causes the release of our satiety hormone peptide YY that physically getting all the protein you need in at 1 meal can be almost nearly impossible. I mean, consider if your protein needs are about 100 grams per day. Just going back to that chicken example, that's about 11.5 ounces of cooked chicken at 1 meal, which I know some people are like, yes, more food, but that's a lot of protein. And from what I've seen with most of my clients, eating that amount of protein at 1 meal is just almost physically impossible. If it works for you, great. But putting this protein protein ceiling aside, as it is very up in the air, just first make sure that between the meals you're actually able to get in, that you're getting to the total amount of protein that you need for your body. And the amount you need per day can range between 1.2 to 1.6 grams of protein per kilogram of body weight. And if you're over the age of 50 or 60 where you have increased bone loss, you might have even higher protein needs. So you can go ahead and test out how to calculate your protein needs in just 3 minutes with this video next. Also, if you're new to my channel and you love this science-backed information, make sure you subscribe right here. Come out with new videos every Tuesday and Thursday. All right, guys, thanks so much for tuning in, and I'll see you in my next video.